where police have released surveillance video that they say shows that shoplifting incident on which we reported here yesterday that led to a standoff between a couple and their children and officers with guns. Take a look at this. In the middle of the screen, it appears a little girl is holding a box. Unclear whether the adult nearby says anything to her. We can't know that. But eventually, you can see on the right here, the girl walks out of the store with the box, and there they go, see? Separately, police claim this shot shows the father stealing underwear. See there? They say that shows the father stealing underwear, which they accuse him of throwing out of his car window. He denies that he stole anything. And family members say they didn't know the child had taken that doll in the first place. So when officers responded, clearly things escalated as the cops cursed and pointed their guns and threatened to shoot. Watch now.
Get out the car! You are gonna get out the car right now! Yes, get out now!
You're not complying with me! Yes, I am. When I tell you to do something, you do it! I am.
Shoplifting. The mayor and the police chief in Phoenix have apologized for the officers' actions. The mayor and the police chief apologized for that. But the police claim the shoplifting was no accident. An attorney for the family says the officers' barbaric actions are not justified, even if what the police say is actually true. They shouldn't have done any of that. The wife says the whole thing was terrifying. The couple now looking to sue the city for millions. Bob Bianchi is here, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor. Looking at this in the main, what are your first thoughts?
Well, when I first looked at it, I said, this looks horrible. These officers are temperamentally unfit. There's multiple different commands being shouted at the occupants in the vehicle. She's holding a baby. She's saying, I can't put my hands up because I have the baby. One officer's yelling at her to get out of the car. The other one's yelling at her to get her hands up, and they're using very salty and aggressive language. And when another cop comes on...
pointing weapons.
And pointing firearms inside a car where there's kids. And when another officer comes and he sees yet another officer yelling and screaming, that officer doesn't know that this must be really bad. There must be a serious safety concern. So that's how I looked at it at first. But, Shep, we need a full investigation because I have the police report in front of me right now.
Yep.
I don't know whether this is accurate or not accurate, but these officers are indicating that after the shoplifting, the individual fled in the vehicle. So flight's going to put the cops in some sort of concern.
That changes things.
That changes things. And when the car was stopped, that the driver as well as the passenger, the male and the female, were reaching towards the center console, and that's why they were yelling, put your hands up, put your hands up. I can tell you from having gone through the firearms training myself, the number one way they tell you will be killed is in a motor vehicle-related incident. That said, Shep, I got one last point with this. After it was all over and de-escalated, you even have the citizens that are videotaping this say, officer, calm down, relax, diffuse the situation. After they were in cuffs, they were no longer a danger. There was still some pretty aggressive and salty language and aggressive actions, including trying to grab the mother who had the baby in her hands, who was very, very upset. And that, to me, is something that was completely unacceptable because the officer's safety was not implicated at that point in time. But we'll have to wait to see the whole investigation.
We always say context matters, and it does, but what matters the most is all of the context. But we're now hearing about flight, and there's more cameras, and there's more investigation, and you know, the police chief has apologized, the mayor has apologized for the actions of the officers. That says a lot right there.
Yeah, you know, but I've been in this situation, and I've handled police-related fatality shootings. And first off, I never get this, Shep. We talk about this a couple of times. I'm the prosecutor. I'm the one who's making the comments about the actions in the investigation. You don't even know all the data or the information yet. And when I'm done and I lock down and button down what the facts are, then we will come forward, and if the cops did something wrong, action will be taken against them. We just don't have enough data for them to have made those comments.
Nobody's physically hurt. We can wait for an investigation, and then we'll know.
Thank God.
And we'll report on it then. Bob Bianchi, thank you.
You got it, Shep.